Hey folks, welcome to another edition of Fitness Friday Posi-TIPS with Rachelle. Folks, I have missed you. And as you can see here, I'm holding up my fleur-de-lis from Louisiana. Had an opportunity to spend 2.5 weeks in Louisiana and Oklahoma City. So I've certainly got some more Rachelle's PF adventures coming up. But this time I actually want to highlight one of my backlog now on my PF adventures. Want to highlight a quick one here. I had the opportunity on August 13th to go to the Troy, Michigan Planet Fitness. I had a great workout there. Actually, that particular club has a great reputation within the Metro Detroit area, and had a good workout. But something I want to highlight, something that's funny that happened. So that morning, I'm at the end of my cardio portion of my workout, and I'm actually sitting. I'm on the recumbent bike, sitting in front of, or on recumbent bike in front of television screen number 13. They have a number there, and so, and all of a sudden, when I hear behind me, I hear some grunting. And in typical gyms, that wouldn't be an issue, whatever, it happens. But literally, the first thing that I thought of was like, oh no, please don't let anybody ring that lunk alarm. Please, it is nice and quiet in here, whatever, this and that. And so I turned around, and when I saw this guy, he was actually on one of the rowers, because that's one thing I know with the PF Michigan group gyms. I have a pretty good sense of their layout and their gym, very big and very spacious, nice gyms. But I'm thinking, okay, so the weight machines are not behind the bikes. So what am I hearing? So he was actually on. Long story short, he was on one of the rowers, and so was exerting himself. And was grunting about every couple of minutes or so. And like I said, that happens in gyms, whatever. So I was like, please don't let that lunk alarm go off. But anyway, folks, long story short, he actually got off the machine about 5 or 6 minutes later. And so it did not go off. So I was so happy because that kind of stuff happens. But I just thought that was so funny. But something I also want to quickly point out with that particular gym is that gyms in Troy, particularly your large chain gyms here in Troy, Michigan, you all learn so much about our Metro Detroit fitness market, have an issue certainly have had issues with theft, with locker theft and all of that. And so that was actually something that was going through my mind when I went to that particular location was, okay, I got to make sure I carry my keys, my phone around with me, whatever, this and that, but was so impressed by the fact that particularly, and I've noticed this obviously because I'm using the ladies' restrooms, but the females that work in that particular facility on the morning shift are highly attentive to those restrooms, to that restroom. And I was so impressed to see that. And I thought to myself, I don't know if this is intentional, but this is a fantastic thing that they're doing here. Keeping an eye, because again, gym theft happens when people feel that no one's watching. All right, and so having employees kind of sift in and out frequently, that particularly for that location, again, don't feel like you got to copy everything you hear me highlight, but that is certainly a competitive strength of that facility in relation to others. They did a fantastic job. And also one last thing, as I was leaving the gym that morning, actually you had the manager was at the front desk, and you had the 3 employees out on the floor cleaning, and it was just such a beautiful sight. It was just such a beautiful sight. They were focused, they were just cleaning, making things happen in that cardio area, but just great teamwork and collaboration. I'm always going to highlight that, but had a great visit, and happy to report, again, reputationally, that location is strong here in the Metro Detroit area. I actually highlighted a couple of reviews where you've had members of that particular club that have given shout outs to that club on the corporate Planet Fitness Facebook page, so I was happy to go and see for myself because I had an appointment that morning in Troy at 9:30. So again, the value of that Black Card membership enabled me to go to workout and then head to my appointment that was like 2 miles down the road. So it was fantastic. But folks, want to quickly recap here. I spent 12 weeks highlighting that long and fruitful series on the value of competitive analysis. And so folks, it is so important. You got to know. You don't want to be surprised. And all of a sudden, you got a major competitor opening up down the street, and you don't even have a clue, because at that point, it's very difficult. You're going to be reactionary in terms of strategies and things that you can do, activities that you can use to neutralize the competitive threats that are bound to happen in your particular market. And so I want to quickly highlight here. You've heard me mention, 2018, 2019, 2020 are going to be some very interesting years here in the Metro Detroit area in terms of fitness, in terms of our fitness market. We've got some new entrants entering the market. We had Crunch Fitness open up last October here in the Westland, Michigan, as their flagship location. But we've got Blink Fitness. You've heard me mention them. But also you've got some other competitors, Equinox Fitness, which is actually going to be opening up in Bloomfield Hills. And as I've found out last week, going to be opening up right by the Planet Fitness in Bloomfield Hills, and I actually had a great visit to that location on September 10th, so can't wait to share that one with you. But quickly here, Blink Fitness set to open. Now this was in Club Industry Magazine, September 18th. Anthony Dominic's article says Blink Fitness to open first Detroit club inside Detroit Pistons practice facility. So here we go. We got a franchisee of Blink Fitness will open a 15,000 square foot health club inside the Henry Ford Detroit Pistons Performance Center in September 2019, with more Blink Fitness locations opening in Michigan throughout the year. Now, you recall I highlighted the fact that one of this franchisee that they're actually mentioning here is going to be partnering. It's actually, last name is Shoemaker. Mr. Shoemaker is partnering with the NBA's own, the Golden State Warriors' own Draymond Green. So that's going to be quite a partnership, as you can see here right off the bat. That strong connection with the Detroit Pistons. So we've got PF Michigan Group earlier this year announced their partnership with the Detroit Tigers. We've got, before even the first franchise location opened here in Michigan, we've already got them partnering, Blink Fitness partnering with the Detroit Pistons. And I fully expect Adam to be on the case, laying the groundwork to partner. Adam, of course, obviously the franchisee with Crunch Fitness here, to partner with the Detroit Lions. So we'll just see what's going to happen with that one, but we know we've already got 2 deals inked here. And so just very, very exciting to see. Things are really heating up here in terms from a fitness perspective, in the competitive sense, every sense of the word. So very, very exciting. So folks, I want to highlight the importance. This series is going to be a short series, 3 episodes here, but highlighting something that is very important, folks. You know that I spend a lot of time on confidence. I always come back to confidence on Fitness Friday or non-Fitness Friday episodes, because it is something that is so important, just absolutely vital to our success in life. It's vital to our future. How we feel about ourselves is so, so, so important. And I often say you can very quickly locate how a person feels about themselves or their self-image by listening to them talk. I mean, it's going to come out either positively or negatively. And I want to highlight an example here. And I was just wondering when it happened. I was actually at the Kroger in Commerce Township. This is actually a location that borders on Novi, Walled Lake, and Commerce Township here. And it was in June. And so I won't mention the employee's name, definitely want to protect that person in this situation. But this person says to me, I'm checking out, and this person is talking with a colleague. Another colleague is standing up here, and they're talking about what they're going to have for breakfast. And I'm thinking, that's great. You guys are getting ready to get something to eat, and that's fantastic. And whatever. And so the one that was checking me out says, oh yes, we got to make sure we have our meal early, because we won't be able to eat or take any breaks, a lunch break, or later on, because we've got VIPs from Kroger Corporate who are going to be coming to do a tour, or actually an inspection of our grocery store here. And so, okay, that's great, that's fantastic, wonderful. But then this person says, so they're going to be here at 12 o'clock. So if you want to come back to the store, if you have any complaints, please come back. Feel free to come back and talk to them, and they'll be able to give you an ear, and you can give the feedback directly to the VIPs coming from corporate. And then I thought to myself, and I'm wondering, is this a setup? Who does that? It's one thing if you say, hey, we got some VIPs coming. You'll often hear people say something like, if you come back in and you happen to be here, feel free to tell them, that we're doing a great job or whatever. People will usually try to get you to give them a plug in a positive direction. But this is actually one that was in the negative direction. And I was thinking to myself, you got to be kidding me. Is this a setup? Who says this? But again, that person's self-image, could not see. And that is a fantastic grocery store. I've actually given feedback to corporate via their website on 2 of their employees. Teresa, I've actually highlighted her on a Fitness Friday, as well as Brendan. Both work up the front in the self-checkout area, do an excellent job. And so they just do an excellent job in that location. So for this person to say, just if you have any complaints, feel free to come and let our VIPs know. So whatever. But I just wanted to highlight that as a very, very blaring example of how someone feels about themselves coming out in their manner of speech. And it happens. It will happen to you. It will happen to me. Just human beings, just nature. How we feel about ourselves, not the masks we wear, not the things that the way that we try to portray ourselves. How we feel about ourselves is so, so, so important. It will make or break your success from a fitness, health, and wellness standpoint. If you got a poor self-image, you'll feel like you don't deserve to lose weight, you don't deserve to be happy, you don't deserve to be healthy. You'll struggle. If you got a poor self-image, you're going to hang on to bad situations, bad trainers, bad facilities, bad group fitness classes too long. All right, and my whole next episode is going to be dedicated to the importance of recognizing that you deserve the best in life. All right, and so if you don't believe you deserve good things in life, you're going to have a whole lot of mediocrity in your life, and there's just no other way to say it. So you'll sabotage your own fitness efforts. I mean, you won't need anyone else to sabotage it. You will sabotage yourself. And certainly, lastly, here in terms of your self-image and how it impacts your life, you all know that I spent time from a leadership perspective sharing best practices on hiring in that competitive analysis series. Okay, so but if you've got a poor self-image, if you've got low self-esteem, you are not going to be seeking out the best people to work in your facility. You're going to settle, you're going to end up with mediocrity and writing people up all the time and having people just whatever. It's just going to not be a good situation. So you got to have a healthy self-image, healthy self-esteem in order to recognize, again, you deserve good people. You deserve to have a good facility. You deserve to have everyone pulling their weight. Positive work environment, not all this backstabbing and turnover and mediocrity and all of that, but how you feel about yourself as a franchisee, as a general manager, assistant manager, shift leader, whatever the case may be, group fitness instructor, trainer, that is going to make or break your success. So I can't not point that out. It's so important. And something that I always like to just visually tell people is when you think about your self-image, when you think about it, and there's actually something when I talked about confidence in relationships last year, a non-Fitness Friday episode, I actually had a measuring cup. And that's actually something, and I often tell people, if I were to ask you right now in terms of how you feel about yourself, either you would have the measuring cup would be full of water, full of liquid, or it would be empty, or even it may be halfway. All right, but if you've got a poor self-image, you've got low self-esteem, that measuring cup's going to be empty. You're going to be going around, even subconsciously, asking or expecting other people to fill you up on a daily basis. All right, you'll go into the workplace, you'll go into your facility, expecting your members, expecting your subordinates to fill you up, make you feel good about yourself. All right, and conversely, if you're walking around with a full measuring cup, you're constantly pouring because you've got a positive outlook on life, you've got a healthy self-image, you're not threatened by people, you have teamwork and collaboration, you celebrate the successes of other people, so you're constantly pouring into other people. So it's a drastic difference. But I think one thing that we need to realize, especially as far as people are concerned, is if you're walking around with an empty cup in life, expecting people to constantly pour into you, you got to be prepared to lose. You got to be prepared for that leader to get tired of constantly filling you up. You got to be tired of that relationship partner or spouse constantly having to fill you up. And I often say, when that happens, when you walk around with an empty cup, you better be prepared to lose some relationships. You better be prepared for people to walk away from you and reject you. And sometimes you may not even know why. All right, we are all human beings. We get tired of somebody constantly, needing to be pumped up. I know, and this is something that used to be one of my specializations, pumping people up. But now, again, just with wisdom and life experience, I recognize when I see that coming, when I see that dynamic, and I can spot that pretty early on, I quickly distance myself because I know it's got to wave the right flag because I'm going to get tired. It's not going to end well, and that's how it's going to be. And so recognize self-image is so important. And folks, as I near here towards the close of this episode, I want to highlight a few of my own self-image failures. People look at me now and they give me, yes, Rachelle, you're confident. Yes, you're courageous. Yes, you're very secure in who you are. Yes, folks, but it's taken years. It's taken years for me to get to this point. And I often like to share the example of my last manager in the corporate world, Steve, and he was brand new. He had just transferred from another company and was our sales manager. And one thing he said to me early on during our first field visit, and I was about to make a sales call, and he said, you know what? There's a couple things about you, Rachelle, that I figured out here. He said, you're very genuine and you're very comfortable with yourself. And that's why I often like to tell people, I wish I had enough humility then to say, well, it's been a struggle and I've had to really work to overcome a lot in that area. But I just said, thanks. But anyway, folks, I want to share a few of my own self-image failures so you could recognize. It has been quite a journey for me. I used to be very insecure. And so I just want you all to know that I've had the same struggle, and it's something I continue to work on. I continue to work on, my confidence and my self-image, all of that, because it's something I don't think we ever completely eradicate in life. Those struggles. It's something we have to continue to work on and move in a positive direction. So folks, here in high school, so I went to high school in Seoul, Korea, and so I had a very healthy level of self-esteem and confidence before we made that move to Korea. So the family was just uprooted and then moved to Seoul, Korea, and ultimately loved it looking back. What a great experience that was. But that was a very confident, shaking, detrimental move, literally, no pun intended, to my self-esteem. And so really struggled in that area. And so folks, at the time, I wanted to be skinny. I mean, I'd had an athletic build at the time. I actually have an athletic build now. So being skinny for me is just not in the cards. Like my bone structure is just not going to allow it, unless I, you have some type of unfortunate illness where that's the case. But folks, I struggled, wanted to be skinny, but also wanted to have a very big chest. So I know that there's going to be ladies that are watching this that can relate to that old myth, that old urban legend myth of I must increase my bust. So I used to do those exercises, and as you can see, it didn't work. It did not work, whatever. So I ultimately had to just wave the white flag and just accept, again, I'm as endowed as I will ever be. And that was certainly true then, and it's certainly true now. So for folks, that was an example. Another thing in high school that I did towards the latter years, like my 11th and 12th grade years, I wanted to be tall. So I used to take calcium supplements to try to create my own growth spurt. My dad is actually 6'2". My mom is about 5'3". And so I'm actually 5'7". And so I wanted to be like 6 feet tall because I just thought, just whatever, just tall is where it's at, and just tall is authoritative, but then I had a wonderful speech professor in college who mentored me for a number of years and taught me that voice, utilizing my voice, having power and confidence in my voice was equally is impactful as me being 6 feet tall. And so that was just something that I had to learn and overcome, and it is what it is. That's my height. I'm 5'7". It is what it is. So, but that was an example. Now, before college, now I don't drink alcohol, folks, but I tried. Before college in Louisiana, I was hanging out with some friends, some coworkers who were older than me. So they're drinking, give me this Bud Light, give me this, give me that. Daiquiris are real popular in Louisiana. And so when the order taker, came around to our table, I said, the waitress came to our table, I said, everybody's kind of looking at me, kind of, what are you going to order? And I did not know enough about alcohol to be able to really order something, intelligently. So I literally had a split second thought of the episodes of Cheers that I used to watch. And I thought, okay, martini, give me a martini. Yeah, give me a martini. And and then the waitress says, okay, do you want that dry or on the rocks? And then I said, well, I didn't have a clue what that meant. And so, and again, I didn't, my self-image was poor. I was insecure and had low self-esteem. At that point, wasn't confident enough to say, oh, I don't drink, I'm fine. Just give me a water or give me a Sprite, whatever the case may be. I'm trying to fit in. I'm sitting here ordering something. I don't have a clue what I'm ordering. So I ordered that martini and I said, well, just give it to me dry. I didn't know what that meant. Folks, that was absolutely just disgusting. I mean, it was just, with all due respect to martini drinkers, that's wonderful. You just drink on, but that for me was just a bad experience. So that was an example. I'm sitting here looking like a fool, sipping on the drink because I can't drink it because it's disgusting. So that's an example. Also, in college at Northwestern, I so remember this, gosh, like it was yesterday. So my classmates, we had a lot of group projects, a lot of group consulting projects for major companies. And so a lot of people drink coffee, just even everywhere. A lot of people drink coffee. I'm not a coffee drinker. I'm naturally caffeinated. With all due respect, just drink on, folks. If you love your coffee, drink on, but I don't drink coffee. But I tried. And so in grad school at Northwestern, there I was, all my, again, insecure, trying to fit in. People around me are ordering coffee. We're about to have a study group. And so I said, you know what, I'm going to get a coffee too. So I got a coffee, and folks, I was a nervous wreck. I mean, I was shaking. It was just a bad situation. So, didn't make that mistake again. But now I have the confidence to just say, somebody says, hey, let's meet up at Panera. Let's meet up with whatever. Let's meet up for coffee, whatever. Instead of what I used to do is tell them, I don't drink coffee, whatever, this and that. Okay, yeah, sure, that's fine. Just go there and order a water. But again, when you have self-esteem struggles, when you have self-image struggles, that is going to come out. You're going to be making some choices that make you look like a fool, you won't be living true to your own values. I mean, there's so many different ways that you can just kind of make yourself look bad, make yourself look like a fool, which is truly what you're trying to avoid, right? You're trying to fit in and look cool or be accepted, whatever the case may be, folks. But that is truly the case. And so I want to close out here. You all know, again, leadership development is certainly a big part of what I do. I'm very passionate about leadership and developing leaders. I spend a lot of time on these episodes talking about leadership. And I want to highlight a best practice of leadership. When you talk about a healthy self-image, as far as leadership is concerned, I'm always looking for examples. And this is actually someone that I highlighted a few times, but highlighted last October when I talked about the value of feedback, and I highlighted Adam, who was the franchisee for our Crunch Fitness, actually has the rights to the state of Michigan for Crunch Fitness. But he, as you've heard me say on a couple of occasions, is obsessed with feedback. Very, very obsessed with feedback. But when you study that from a leadership perspective, you think if someone is a professional poker player and they're interacting with other players, and again, these folks are, obscuring what their potential cards are and hiding body language and all of that. But then feedback, people are telling you, so you can understand why that value and just that appreciation for feedback comes from. Because there's you can look on your website and your reviews, people are telling you how you were performing, what they think of you and your facilities. And I think this is so important from a leadership perspective. But I think the ability to be highly appreciative and accepting and open to feedback, positive and negative, certainly speaks well to his confidence and a healthy self-image. And that's certainly something, as I've studied poker players and some of their personality strengths, confidence is one of them. And so I just always challenge you. I spend a lot of time highlighting the importance of feedback and valuing feedback and soliciting feedback. But if someone has a poor self-image, if someone has low self-esteem and they're sensitive to criticism, it's just not going to be a good situation. They're going to retreat from feedback. They're going to avoid it. They're not going to want to hear it. But this is an example of positive or negative, where all three of his locations, all right, Westland, Michigan, which is a flagship location here in Metro Detroit, which I mentioned. He's got a second location he opened up in Dearborn Heights, third location in Farmington Hills, and the fourth location was slated is Clinton Township here, all Metro Detroit areas. But with their 5-year plan, is 28 locations. And that also says a lot about his confidence, but also the confidence that the Crunch franchise has put in him. All right. And so, folks, I want to highlight his response to some feedback. All right. So this feedback, actually saw this. This is a Google Plus review, and it just says 2 weeks ago. So it doesn't give you the exact date that the review was placed. So Ron Coletta wrote a review on the Westland, Michigan location of Crunch Fitness here 2 weeks ago. And it says, great place and equipment. Worked out here on Thursday, 8/23, and was ready to switch from Planet Fitness, but the staff was so unhelpful that I just walked out. I had a free pass and didn't get a tour of the place because he was getting off soon. So I spent 20 minutes walking aimlessly, but okay, fine. Then I finished my workout and was going to sample the tanning beds to make my final decision. And while one girl was helping me and whispers in her ears, and then the girl says, sorry, it's a liability thing. Can't let you use the tanning beds. But if you pay $10, then you can. So let me get this straight. Instead of me signing up as a customer for a long period of time, you'd rather just get $10 and not have me come back. All right. So I'm going to hold the update, but he updated that review, but I'm going to jump quickly to the response from Adam. All right. Response from the owner. So it says, Ron, I'm so sorry for this experience you had at Crunch. This is definitely not the customer service we aim to provide. Please email me at info@crunchwestland.com. I'd like to send you a 7-day guest pass where you have access to everything we offer, including tanning. Adam. All right, so Ron updated his review. So let me jump back to this update. I was contacted by the owner, and he offered me a free week pass and apologized. After 2 sessions, I went ahead and joined. This place is awesome and was really impressed on how fast I was contacted. This place is so much better than Planet Fitness for my workout needs. The free weights, the punching bags, and the sled are great. Nick is a good manager and easy to talk to, as well as my old friend Jenna. Also, this place is kept extremely clean. Thanks for everything. So you've heard me say during that competitive series, you gotta evaluate. You gotta be on top of your feedback. Because this kind of stuff happens at gyms. I mean, somebody will get upset at their current gym, and then they're evaluating other gyms, and how responsive people are, how responsive the owner is, or the manager, one of the management teams, or even the actual team members themselves, whether it be front desk or whatever the case may be. Feedback is so important. Feedback is so important, folks. And you can spend $50,000 a month on marketing, but if people are going to your Google reviews, Yelp reviews, or Facebook page reviews, and saying mediocre reviews, it is hurting you. It is hurting you. But I think the accountability, from an accountability standpoint, with Adam taking ownership and responsibility as he does, because he's perusing these reviews, good and bad, of all 3 locations. And when he has 28 locations, there's no doubt in my mind, he's going to be perusing all 28 of those as well. All right, because this right here is your marketing. When people are reading this reviews like this of how an owner jumped in, was responsive, very quick to respond, that seals the deal for a lot of people. So it's so important. It is so important. I don't care what type of facility you own, what type of facility you manage, what type of facility you operate. It is so important, folks. Value feedback, but you gotta have the confidence and a healthy, positive self-esteem in order to be able to do so effectively, folks. So I want you to be successful. I look forward to continuing this conversation next time on recognizing that you believe what you believe about yourself and what you deserve is so important. Because I believe you deserve the best, but folks, you've got to believe it, because that's when your life will truly change. So thanks so much for your time. Make it a wonderfully fit day.